So Bitcoin fell underneath the 50 moving average today, and a lot of crypto went to the downside. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to jump into the charts, see where the price is heading so we can get a clear view of Bitcoin. Plus, we're going to jump into Sui coin today. And as it hit its year high just recently, and it got rejected, as we discussed, it probably would. So we're going to jump into those two coins right now. Let's check out that fear and greed index. Crypto just fell into the fear today a little bit as it decreased 10 points in the fear and greed index. So it's back in the fear. So what does that mean? If you got some dry powder, then it would be a good time to deploy or just hold your assets. And of course, none of this is financial advice. Please do what you need to do. This is just me doing and me talking. So a good time to buy would be currently, yes. Let's check out Bitcoin. So we're in the Bitcoin chart here. What do we see? And we see a gap down currently. So we're going to go into the 30-minute chart right there. So basically, Bitcoin in the 30-minute chart tried moving above that 50 moving average right there, and then whipsawed down underneath 365 and the moving averages below, coming to a halt right there at 60,351, and then kind of just bouncing off that. We're going to pull this up right there, and we're going to hold it there. Now we're going to jump into the 4-hour chart, see what's going on there, see if we can make any sense of what's going on with this down movement here and this rejection. And then today, just with probably bad news or whatever, fell underneath the 50 moving average and the 200, and then right down to that marker, which I had a little lower, but it fell right to a support right there at 60,000, basically 60,300, and then bounced off that. We're going to jump into the 1-day chart, and then we can talk about these moving averages. So this is something we need to pay attention to right now, that Bitcoin is now underneath the 50 moving average and now is fighting to survive above it. So we know in history, when it's below that 50 moving average, you can see right there, it gets really, really bearish, and it tends to get rejected off that 50 moving average. And when it goes above it, tends to fall back down, and then so on and so forth. So the 50 moving average, it's been fighting with that pretty much since it hit its top there, 73,700, and fell underneath the 50 moving average a month later. And ever since that, been pretty much battling the 50 moving average. And then just recently, back in July, touched under the 200 moving average, and that made things worse. So now it's been juggling between the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average. And so far today, staying below the 200 moving average, and now below the 50. So that's what we have. So on the 1-week chart right there, we are still above the 50 moving average. So that's a good sign. And the 100 moving average still moving up, the 200 moving average still moving away from the 100. So that's all good indications, but that's on the 1 week. So we got to really look at that 1 day, and we got to pay it, that 1-day chart. We got to pay attention to that 50 moving average, because now that it's under it, there could be more headwind. And well, we know with Bitcoin right now, there's been a ton of volatility. The price is still significantly high. It's teetering at $60,000, that psychological number, and technical number, and support. So that's what's happening with Bitcoin. Some price predictions that could happen here, since it's now underneath that 50 moving average, could get rejected again off that 50 moving average, as currently it's trying to pull over it. If it does pull over it, it'll probably go right to that 100 moving average at 61,000 and then work its way back up there to 63,000, right around that 200 moving average. If it gets rejected and keeps getting rejected, it's going to fall down. There's gap down here to 58,500, then 56,600, 54,500, and then Sayonara Bitcoin, if it falls down to this trend line, this purple trend line, if it falls below that, it's got a major support there at 51,000. And then we can talk prices if it comes close to there. But don't think it's going to come close to there. Do think that this is a trick. So, not financial advice, but for me, just holding steady. Still holding steady here and paying attention to what's going on here. If it does fall low and then even lower, well, that to me is more buying opportunity, because right now, Bitcoin is going to do its thing before surging higher. What I can see right now, though, still quite bullish. I know that it's gap down, so every gap down deserves a gap up. So we can wait to see if Bitcoin will V-shape recover here with that significant gap down right there, and then may just gap up to 62,000 in no time, as the 4-hour 50-day, the 4-hour 50 moving average is right there. So hasn't done much, just came down to this lower support here of 60,000, and hopefully just bounces off that. If it can't hold here, it's definitely going to work its way lower. Wouldn't panic though. So everything looks good. Everything looks healthy. And it just looks like another day for Bitcoin's volatility and, of course, uncertainty in the market. All right, let's head into Sui coin. So we got the Sui coin right here. And as we talked about in the last video for Sui coin, we were expecting it to come up and meet this high here. It did in March. And now it has come up there, got rejected, $2.16, and got rejected down back to its double top high over here back in February. So that's currently where it's sitting. Now I have this as a dark line because that's exactly where I thought the market would come down to after it got rejected here. It would bounce in between $1.89, we'll call it $1.85, and $1.17. So there's a lot of volatility up here, and there's a lot of resistance here, and that's where the market got stopped out last time. So this green line is a major marker here of resistance, and it could hold support actually. And as these moving averages keep moving up, it tells me that the market's going to sit here, maybe come down a little bit. Let's check out the 4-hour. So the 100 moving average is right there, has not come below the 100 moving average since the beginning of September, really. So it might retest the 100 moving average. So it could fall below the 50 moving average here, which would be below the $1.84, and then come retest that $1.78. Now, if I go back to the 1-day chart, that's exactly what I see there. I see support there at $1.78, could retest that, and it could even retest the bounce that it had there at $1.61. And that would retest underneath the 21 moving day average, And that would be pretty healthy because it's come off a pretty much a parabolic rise right here. So would I be expecting Sui coin to make to keep jumping potentially, as the 100 wants to work its way up here now through these moving averages here, the 200 and the 365. So potentially on that, it could break higher, but right now I do see some consolidation as it got rejected off that test right there, $2.16. So I do still see bullish. I still see Sui pretty bullish right now, and it does look like it wants to V-shape recover already back to its high there, and it potentially could already break out because there is no there's nothing up there and nothing really holding it back. Maybe a little bit at $2 because it's a psychological number. But other than that, so you can see it stopped there at $2 a little bit. And I showed that it was just light resistance, not heavy resistance. So $2 isn't going to make it stop. It should just push through that. And it probably will because of the FOMO and the liquidity Sui is having right now. Will we call this cup and handle? Not really. I think right now it could be working its way to making a cup here as it got rejected, and then potentially a handle right there. So can I see this happening right here for Sui? Potentially. So I can see maybe some drawback here. Kind of, it's not going to be perfectly like this, but that kind of a cup and handle. And because there was a top here, okay, and you can see right here, it's come right back there now, basically retesting that a little under. So if it does work its way here, it's got this support here. So you can see a little bit here, and that would make a cup and handle explosion. So we can look for something like that for Sui in the future. I imagine that's what's going to happen. So would I be buying right now? No, I'd be waiting for a much larger pullback because Sui coin had a parabolic rise right here at about 83 cents. And it just continued up and up and up. It has to fill that gap up now. It has to. So it hasn't filled any gap up here. So with it moving downwards, it could get stopped out right here at that major volatility it had here. I can't even call it support because it hasn't been around long enough to hold support there. But there was a lot of volatility around there at $1.61. So I could see the market receding back down to $1.61-ish. And then potentially maybe a one-time breakdown at $1.22 because that was major support there. And breaking up from there and then creating a huge cup and handle, really. Just a short cup and handle, but a long, but a high extended one that could shoot this price right up, parabolic, right up there. So that could happen. Now, would I buy right now? I wouldn't buy right now, like I said, because I'd be waiting for some pullback, waiting to see if it's going to pull underneath the 21 moving average and coming down to the 30 moving average. And if it does move under the 21 moving average, it'll probably stew for a while sideways, like you see in Bitcoin, and sit there sideways, and there'll be a lot more opportunities rather than FOMOing in. Some price predictions for Sui coin. So if it gets rejected here again off of $1.91, it's going to come down and retest $1.84, $1.78. There's a little bit of, I would say, resistance support there at $1.69, and then you can see $1.61. It could bounce off that, but there's really no support there, to be honest. And the support level all the way down here, okay, basically $1.17. So that's a major support there, $1.17. So personally, not financial advice, but I would be waiting for pullback down to $1.1718 before deploying a lot more. Of course, if you had your bags packed already, ready for this thing to fire up in a bull run that it's already in, you could add more. I wouldn't add more here already, but I would be adding more $1.61, $1.50, $1.39, and $1.30, and ultimately waiting for that $1.17 pullback. If it falls underneath that, then you're looking at prices under $1.10, 99 cents, and 82 cents. And then we have major support there at 67 cents, right around there. All right, so that's Sui Coin today. So I do think it's quite bullish. I do think there's a little bit of pullback today, but we'll have to just wait and see, because Bitcoin now is underneath that 50 moving average. So just waiting and seeing. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.